I just think this is funny. Do you think
I love
SEO is
it.
a bad career from a psychological perspective? I mean, we have so less control over this platform. I find it frustrating to wait for Google's approval. Any thoughts? So I actually really like talking about this because I think it's interesting. Um, so yeah, everything you said is very true, and uh, this is why so many people don't make it in SEO for all of these reasons you mentioned, right? So you don't have control. This is something we were talking about in when someone a previous question where someone was asking about how long is it going to take for my link building campaign to show results. You cannot answer that question truthfully. You can give estimates, but your estimates don't really mean much. It's an educated guess, and they're wrong almost all the time, right? And so yeah, you don't really have control. At the end of the day, we study what Google, we figure out and we study what we think Google wants us to do, and then we offer it up to Google, but they still have to take it, right? They still have to take the last step of actually making it happen. And uh, things can happen where you're thinking you're doing everything right. For some reason, things just aren't working out. I mean, generally, if you've been doing SEO for a while, you can probably pretty much figure out why things aren't working, or you can try to tweak stuff to make it work, or whatever. But especially for like newer people, yeah, there's an extreme lack of control, and even for experienced people, there is that lack of control. It's always there. Um, and also, so your second part, I find it frustrating to wait for Google's approval. That's another. I think this is the thing that actually makes SEO the most frustrating. Is you don't ever get instant gratification. It's always delayed. And if you're actually working hard, the time from when you actually start getting results and everything you did in between, there's so much that you did in there. So it's so hard to connect the dots to which of these actions truly led to that result. And the answer is it's generally made, all of it kind of mixed together. But it's just so hard to get any kind of like this feeling of like, yeah, I nailed it, and then I got this result, and I did the work, and it paid off, and I got the reward, right? So from a psychological perspective, it's very tough for people to deal with that, and this is why I guess a couple of years ago, something like that, I got into day trading, and I got into really high momentum. It was like right on market open, very fast trades. Trades generally were not longer than a minute or two. Some trades were only a couple seconds long. The thing is I liked it so much because it was such a big change from SEO because you just got the gratification right away. Boom, $100. Boom, $400. Boom, I just lost $600. Whatever.
Boom, negative. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens, but it was happening fast, and you knew, even though the control wasn't there, because the stock market in general, for anyone, it's best guesses as well, right? The strategy is to find, or what you want to do is find a strategy that is right, more than 50% of the time, and to keep that up. But there's just the fact that the instant gratification was there was like something that felt very good to have back in my life, right? Because you just don't really get that from SEO at all. Um, yeah, what do you think about all this, Nick?
Yeah, a lot of this is going to depend on who you are. So sit down and have a serious conversation with yourself about, your own psychological perspective and what you want out of life and how much you want that to be the stress, not only of just an SEO career, but as a career in general, as an entrepreneur, because if you're focused on SEO, it means you're going to have to be your own manager. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to stay on top of things. Like Chris said, there is no instant gratification, so you just have to believe in the fact that you will get there. Um, we've talked about this
And it gets
a
easier
lot
once you actually
before,
get
so
there
I'll
a
say it
couple
again.
times.
Yeah, it does, but then you're always like shifting what you're doing and you're building onto it, and you'll come to find that the stress kind of eases, but if you're in charge of your own business, like the stress never goes away. So I think, from that perspective, a lot of people say they want to be a business owner or entrepreneur, but it's not easy. And other business owners that I know say the same thing. Nothing has tested their psychology as much as being their own boss. I can 100% stand by that. I've, fought in a cage. I've lived off a motorcycle with a tent for 7+ months. Like, I pushed myself a bunch of silly ways, right? But that's who I guess I've always kind of been. I like the fight. I like being in something that stresses me out to the point of, am I going to give up and roll over here, or am I going to keep at it? Hell or high water, I'm going to win at this. SEO and starting my own businesses was the most psychologically draining thing I've ever put myself through. I've never hit rock bottom like my first couple of years of trying to make um, a business in a field that is so obscure work for me. You can't just go to school. You can't just get online and study one person's perspective. Even if you found us, then you're going to have a competitive advantage than I did when I first got started, because we're giving you good information. But still, you're going to want to study other people's points of views as well. And you're going to have to tie the room together for yourself. So the only one that can answer that question for you is you yourself, and knowing yourself and the type of personality you have. Be honest with yourself. If you want something that's a bit more cush, go get a career. Learn about SEO and go get an actual career in SEO where you're funded and you've got, some kind of peace of mind that you're working for somebody and you're helping them build their, idea of what they need SEO for, but do it from a place where you're kind of protected in a sense, right? But if you love the fight, if you love facing, problems that could make or break, your entire lifestyle and livelihood, then SEO might just be for you. Picture it as one of the career paths that you'll always have a decent amount of stress, because there's always curveballs being thrown at you, via Google, via the way you build things. You're always going to have to stay on your toes, so to speak. And from that perspective, I love SEO. It's kept me on my toes. I've never been able to just take a breather over the years. But I like being in there. I like being in that position. I might be sort of shifting that perspective a little bit as I get older, and I want more automation. I want less stress, but at the same time, I'll probably just go find something else that stresses me out, and keep pushing at that as well. So, if you're a person that's historically shied away from wanting stress in your life, just heed warning that SEO is not a concrete, easy to follow career path. And that's the reality of the
I just
subject.
thought of something kind of interesting. Especially with new SEOs, you see this um, like they're obsessed with checking their rankings like every day, and
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
lack of instant gratification, right? They whatever they
Mhm.
came from before, you generally do some kind of work and then you get some kind of result, you get some kind of gratification from it, right? So it
Yeah.
just makes sense, right? That they're coming to terms with the fact that that's not there anymore, and that you can do a ton of work
Yeah.
one day, and you know, but then you get to the point where yeah, you're just way more.
Once you're ranking sites and you can hit money targets, it's a completely different ball game, right?
Yeah,
But it takes a long time to build those recipes
and
out.
I won't say this completely fixes the problem of having to wait on Google and not really having full control, but one thing you can also think about is trying to minimize the effect of results having an effect on your survival. So for example, let's say you're newer to SEO and you're getting into affiliate, and so you're surviving on this affiliate income. Let's say you're newer to SEO and you're getting into affiliate, and so you're surviving on. Okay, there we go. So basically,
No, that was my phone. My bad.
Yeah. So one thing you can do to try to minimize this in a way is to try to incorporate things into your business so that basically your results don't impact 100% your means of survival. So for example, if you're doing local SEO, of course, yes, you want to get results for all of your clients, but at the same time, you have all of these other things that factor into how you make money. Your sales process factors in to how you're making money, your client retention. So basically, what I'm saying is, like, if you're just an affiliate site owner and you're new to SEO and you're like, I need these results, man, because if I don't get the results, the site's not going to make money, and I'm gonna be a failure. I'm gonna have to go back to a normal job or whatever. Whereas if you're doing like local or something, you might lose that one client if you can't get them results in X amount of time or something. But then you still have your sales process. You still have your process of funneling in like new money into your business as a way of making money, right? So it just becomes a little bit of a less of a pressure on you, and so. You've probably heard this before, but especially affiliate, if you're new to SEO, it's probably one of the harder places to get started on, and that this kind of might factor into it as well. Affiliate generally has more competition, but also the fact that your results dictate your money, and it's a direct correlation, right? It can be a little bit really hard psychologically for a newer SEO until you've done it. Maybe you still have your other job or whatever, and you don't want client SEO at all. You don't want local. You just want to get into affiliate. Then having your other job while you're getting into affiliate, and then maybe you see a project through to completion. You actually flip the site. You say okay, and then you kind of start getting more of a feel of how things work, and then this. The feeling of not having the control or waiting for Google's approval, once you've kind of been through the cycle a couple times, I don't think really will affect you as much anymore. So yeah, if you have the determination, what Nick was talking about, just the grit and the determination to like see this thing through in something just such a unstable kind of feeling of industry, things changing all the time, and you have to wait for someone else's or Google's approval and all this. If you can make it through all that, then it eventually gets easier. And at least psychologically, it gets psychologically a bit easier.
SEO gets easier, and then you have to learn all the other aspects of business as well. My last entrepreneurial difficulty came with having to really learn bookkeeping and accounting properly. God, that was stressful. But if you're in business for yourself, you're gonna have to wear a lot of hats.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description below for links to our blog for more info on this topic, along with a bunch of other cool stuff like case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you enjoyed the video. Thanks and happy ranking.